raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
We have been given a gift by God today to usher in a new dynasty.
Now you get RFK Jr.
Don't you want a president who's going to make America healthy again?
You get Tulsi Gabbard.
Putting our country in a continual state of war.
You get Elon Musk and you get J.D. Vance.
A hell of a way to start the next 4 years.
The right-wing Avengers.
We have an army of digital soldiers.
Department of Defense under Donald Trump will achieve peace through strength.
Shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one.
The rescission of 78 Biden-era executive actions, executive orders, presidential memoranda, and others.
The golden age of America has most definitely begun.
Begin preparing the 30,000-person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay.
They're getting the dirt bags off these trees.
There's one guy who can fix this shit, and it's Donald Trump.
What's storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
Just like witches at black masses, evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields, the bodies burning, as a war machine keeps turning. Death and hatred to mankind. Oh no, poison in their minds. Politicians hide themselves away. They only started on the war. Why should they go out to fight? They leave that to the poor. They leave that to the poor. Now in darkness, world stop turning. Ashes where their bodies burning. No more war pigs have their power, and a God has struck the hour. Day of judgment, God is calling. On the knees, the war pigs crawling, begging mercy for their sins. Oh no, Satan, spread your wings. Time will tell on their power minds, making war for just fun, treating people just like pawns in chess, until the judgment day comes. Politicians hide themselves away. They only started on the war. Why should they go out to fight? They leave that to the poor. They leave that to the poor.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. My name is Josh. Welcome to the Repill Project's Daily Dose, live with you Monday through Thursday, Monday through Friday. Hope everybody is doing well out there and having a fantastic Thursday. It's Thursday. Oh my God, it's Thursday. Man, I will tell you, the days just starting to mesh together. Sometimes, I don't know how it gets when you get older, but at least where I am an age, like you don't even know what day it is. It's just a day. And you're happy to be in that day. And you're happy to be in the country of the United States of America, or at least I am. I'm very, very proud and happy to be in the United States of America. What an amazing country. And, you know, even through the downturns, even through the horrible political leaders that we'll have over there, like Joe Biden or Barack Obama, even with political corruption, it's still the greatest country in the world. And no, I'm not going to go into, well, why is it the greatest country? It's the greatest country because we're here. Because we are American patriots and because we love this country and we will fight to defend it at all costs, whether that is through our words or through information or kinetically through defending our land, our borders, and our territory. That's why this is the greatest place in the world, right? Because the American people truly understand and believe in this country. And that's shown more so than not over the course of the last year. Now, I'm going to get into a few different things. Like last night was a crazy show if you were watching. So we were doing a segment on color revolutions. And I know a lot of people are skeptical of this. And I'm skeptical of it too. Like when I see this stuff, I'm like, okay. But something happened after that kind of validated to me. And I even threw this over to some friends. I said, what do you think of this? Like, holy shit. And I'm going to show you that in here in a second, but let me give a little background. So I'm talking about color revolutions. I'm talking about what's to come, National Guard being deployed, all of this stuff, right? And I'm playing a Glenn Beck video. And then Donald Trump, right, I'm watching on my phone, post the same Donald Trump video that's clipped that Glenn Beck posted on YouTube, talking about the same exact thing. I'm like, that's coincident, right? Coincident. So then I'm like, Trump, you know, hey, if you or Scavino are watching, give us a 14. Give us some type of representation of 14. And sure enough, 2 videos later, about 5 or 6 minutes later, he posted his Lee Zeldin video that was 2 minutes and 27 seconds long. 2 minutes and what was it? I got it right here. 2 minutes and 57 seconds long. So that's 2 plus 5 plus 7. That's 14. And I'm like, whoa, that's pretty crazy. So, okay, pretty crazy. It didn't stop there. So I made a little video of this, and I posted it on X. Well, this was interesting because 15 minutes exactly after I posted that video, and I'm like, this is just crazy. I don't know. Tell me if I'm crazy or not, okay? So 15 minutes exactly after I posted my video, Dan Scavino posts the dart on target. Now, I found this quite interesting because post 15, more good people than bad, the wizards and warlocks inside term will not allow another satanic piece of shit to control our country. But then right at the bottom, Soros is targeted. So, I'm like, okay, that's interesting, right? So then Dan Scavino goes on a posting frenzy. See, this wasn't it. There was more. He goes on a posting frenzy. He posts in the air tonight, Phil Collins, right? And so Dan posted 1:05 a.m., Q105, please pray. Operators are in harm's way, high risk, high value targets. Please pause and give thanks to those who would die to save our republic. More to follow. Q, my thoughts are some booms are incoming. And I posted on this post. And what I posted on it, and I thought it would be a comment under here. Maybe I can find it. Yep, right here. I posted right here, up late tonight, Dan, Situation Room. Now, I posted this at 12:12 a.m. my time, okay? And a few minutes later, Dan Scavino posts the 3 tenors with Nessun Dorma, which none shall sleep. the song's name is None Shall Sleep. So I'm like, hey, up late tonight, Dan? And sure enough, just like 2 minutes later, he posts None Shall Sleep. Now, this wasn't it. This was actually pretty crazy because if you go to someone's profile, like Dan Scavino, you can't see the messaging icons. During that time, the message icon actually showed up for Dan Scavino. I got pictures of it. It was actually pretty cool. It was just really interesting, people. And it just further validates to me, at least, that, you know, these people are watching these shows. And I think that they watch these shows because they want to know, you know, what are people feeling? What are people seeing? What are people saying? What do people understand? And who's over the target? Who's not over the target? They want to know what type of information is going out into the world. Because when you're trying to communicate with a whole country and keep people informed, keep people safe, but also get disclosure and get declassification out there, you got to know the heartbeat of what people are thinking. You got to know what people are talking about, how they're interpreting various different communications. And so it makes sense to me that this is what would happen. I thought it was really cool, so I thought I would share it with you. If it's just mere coincidence, that's one hell of a fucking coincidence. I don't know. It's just mind-blowing. Because if you guys understand how we come, that's just mind-blowing. All right. We'll talk about the Pledge of Allegiance here in a little way. I was going to actually open with Glenn Beck talking about the Pledge of Allegiance, but we're not going to get into that one today. So Trump today, I thought this is awesome. So I want to put this out there real quick for you. Trump today, 51 seconds long.
And a friend of mine, talking about donors, a friend of mine, a man that's great. I'm not going to use his name unless he lets me do it. Susie can tell you about this, but he called us the other day and he said, I'd like to contribute any shortfall you have because of the Democrat shutdown. I'd like to personally contribute any shortfall you have with the military, because I love the military and I love the country, and any shortfall, if there's a shortfall, I'll contribute it. And today he sent us a check for $130 million. Can you share who that is? I would love to tell you. He doesn't really want the recognition, if you want to know the truth, but he gave us a check for $130 million. And that's going to go to which was sort of a shortfall, yeah. And that's going to go to the military, yeah. And what's your message?
So someone donated $130 million because the government shut down to help pay for the military. Now, he mentions, you know, he's not going to mention the name of the person, but he does mention that the person is a patriot. Post 13 on the cue boards. Now think of the timing of POTUS traveling. Now, my thoughts is that it was Donald Trump who paid $130 million with his own money. That's my thought. I think the man wrote a check to the Department of Defense to cover the cost of the military. Now, we were actually talking about this on Badlands earlier today. If you're signing up for the GART, for the virtual ticket to the GART, or you have an actual physical ticket holder of the GART, you get in on our Thursday kind of GART pre-parties. And it's just a whole bunch of us from Badlands to get on there and shoot the shit. But we were talking about this earlier, that the government seems to be working way more efficiently now during shutdown. I can't explain it. I don't have a real ID or anything like that. I failed to get one, and I'm going to GART, so I got to get on a plane. I got to fly to Florida. And I went out there and I bought my plane ticket hoping that, hey, I'm going to renew my passport. I hope this thing comes. And sure enough, a week and a half later, it's delivered to my door during a government shutdown. If the government was open, that would have took like 4 months. Like, if the government was open, I'd still be waiting for my passport, and I would not be getting on the flight here in 2 weeks. But the government shut down, and I got it in a week and a half. That's mind-boggling to me. That there's so much bureaucratic red tape, that there's so many people involved in the decision-making process, even for a simple passport, that it'll take you 3 to 4 months just to get it. But you remove all those people, you remove all that bureaucratic red tape, and guess what happens? Boom, things move fast and instantly. I think that's pretty profound. Now, Tammy is waiting backstage. I'm going to bring her on in a few minutes. I want to get into the press conference today a little bit with Donald Trump, what was talked about, what was discussed. Number one, Press Secretary Levitt, she said, no de-escalation from the unhinged leader of Colombia. This goes to my conversation last night, that Venezuela is a pawn in a larger global scenario. And I'm not saying that Maduro is the victim or anything like that. I think that he was knowingly going along with all of this stuff. But that the cartels in Venezuela are primarily controlled by a majority of cartels in Colombia. And they are all funded by a radical machine of leftism and globalism around the world called China. Now, Caroline said that I don't think that we're seeing de-escalation from the unhinged leader of Colombia right now, and I don't think the president, frankly, is interested in that at this point. He spoke on this yesterday, and I don't have anything to add to his comments. Now, why do I think that this is important? B-1 bombers flew over the Caribbean in another show of force against Venezuela and their neighbor, Colombia. It's the second time in 2 days U.S. bombers have flown over the Caribbean. Now, this could also be a strategy, just kind of normalize those flyby passage patterns. This is actually what China does in a lot of their drilling, is they'll drill right next to Taiwan and they'll come closer and closer each time. They'll encroach and then they'll move away, encroach and move away. The thing is you don't know when it's an actual drill or when it's an actual real mission. And I think that this is one of the things that the Trump administration is doing. But it's a physical deterrent and a show of force. And like Trump said today, with the debrief on a lot of the cartels and a lot of the announcements that they were making, is that you're not seeing drug boats in the Caribbean. They are just not showing up. They're not coming. Nobody wants to put their drug boats in the water because we're going to blow them out to the water. Then he said that I think next we're going to have to go in and take out the drug production facilities. Kinetic strikes. And the kinetic strikes, I'm telling you right now, are not going to be limited to Venezuela. They're going to go from Venezuela to Colombia. They're probably going to Ecuador because you have trade routes, you have trafficking routes that actually occur all the way from Venezuela to Colombia, Peru, Ecuador, and Peru. And then these even move up through parts of Panama, Costa Rica, and all the way up to the U.S. border. And they're going to target a lot of these routes simply because this is how human trafficking is happening. This is how drug trafficking is happening. Guarantee you right now we have tier 1 operators in Central and South America engaging in kinetic conflict. I guarantee it. It just hasn't been announced yet. So with all of that said, what is this ramping up for? It's ramping up that there is going to be kinetic strikes at some point in time here in the near future. I think that it's about global checkmate. It's about moving all your pieces into place as everything is kind of working itself out. So we just saw yesterday that Trump put sanctions on 2 of the top Russian oil companies. Now, this was interesting because I came out and said, this is about China. This is all about China, people. People, this is all about China. And Tom Cotton actually came out today and agreed 100% with me. He said Russian state oil companies illegally sell oil to the communist Chinese in order to fund Putin's war machine. Well, that's true. Now, here's the other part of it. China came out today and declared that they're going to stop purchasing shadow Russian oil. Not only did they say they're going to do it, but Russian oil supply to India is set to fall near zero. So this is going to force China and India through alternate channels, primary market channels in order for the purchase of oil. I think what Trump's actually trying to do, you ready for this one? I think what Trump's actually trying to do with China is he wants China to buy U.S. energy. He wants China to buy U.S. energy. I'm telling you, it's the ultimate economic mutually assured destruction. China goes to war with the United States and they're dependent on 80% of their supply from the United States. Well, guess what? They have no energy. And it would make so much sense. I think that this is what he's planning because he's meeting with Xi Jinping here in about a week and a half. So pay attention to that. That's one thing that we need to focus on is this overall global strategy because this is what everybody's paying attention to. So Secretary of War today, our message to the foreign terrorist organizations is we will treat you like we have treated Al-Qaeda. We will find you. We will map your networks. We will hunt you down and we will kill you. And he is talking about all international terrorist organizations that have been declared, all of the gangs, all the cartels, and Antifa, so on and so forth. And this is so important because when you start to get into the rules and the laws, international laws of how all of this constructs together, we know that these declarations have to be made by the Trump administration legally, that the executive orders have to be in place, that the authorized use of military force has to be in place, that these other laws we're going to look at in a second have to be in place, and then you can implement the Insurrection Act. And Donald Trump said today, President Trump said he will keep his promise to expose the politicians and billionaires involved with the financing of domestic terrorism. We have a lot of information about who they are. You are going to be very surprised when you find out. Well, I think the world will, but I don't think we are. Now, today, someone sent me this stuff, and I don't usually go on a frenzy of disproving documents or something like that, but this one I actually did. And I have a big problem with this document. Nothing against Anthony Cabasa here, but I do have a problem with these documents. So he says the Trump administration to create nation's first ever National Guard response force to begin training troops for nationwide civil unrest, with some troops specializing in chemical, biological, and nuclear scenarios. Troops must be operational no later than April 1st, 2026 per memo. So here's the problem. He says exclusive, and he makes it a statement. These documents are fake. These documents are 100% bullshit. That's not real. And the reason they're not real, and I go into this, I said the memo is fake. This is not how it works. Massive red flags. He responded and said, oh, SecDef actually responded to this when asked about it. Let's listen to this.
I have a question for Secretary Hegseth. Sir, a memo circulating on social media details the establishment of a National Guard response force that's going to be trained in crowd control and civil unrest and deployed in all 50 states by April of 2026. Can you verify the authenticity of that memo, and do you have any more information on the operations?
I'm not going to answer particulars on something that may be in the planning process, but we definitely do have multiple layers of National Guard response forces, whether it's in each state, whether it's regionally, whether it's Title 10 active duty, whether it's Washington, D.C. We've got a lot of different ways that constitutionally and legally we can employ Title 10 and Title 32 forces, and we will do so when necessary.
Okay, so he's saying that that is validation of the document that he's saying. Unfortunately, Anthony, no, it's not, because you didn't listen to what Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth said. So your document actually claims it's the creation of a National Guard response force of which it's going to train. And you can look into the document. You can see that it's a memorandum on all states, territories, and District of Columbia National Guard response force implementation. The problem is they already exist. And that's what SecDef actually just said there is they already exist. And I lay this out pretty well in my expose. Number one is if you look at regular DOD memos, this one looks nothing like it. Different font, different grammar, different style. Everything is wrong about it. But we go into it and I break it down. And there's no legal authority exists for what it orders. The memo claims all states and territories will train, equip, and make National Guard response forces operational no later than April 1st, 2026. Number one is no set of orders, no DOD memo, no government document I've ever seen uses NLT. No later than. They spell it out. They say no later than, and it's actually a partition within a document itself. But the reality, every state already has a National Guard reaction force established years ago under the National Guard Bureau directives. These are not optional. They are standard elements of the National Guard readiness. The Secretary of War cannot order states to form new military units under Title 32. Only governors can organize their Guard forces unless they are federalized under Title 10 or the Insurrection Act. The memo never invokes those statutes, which makes the order legally void. Bottom line, the DOD can train and fund, but not mandate force creation by state order. The fake memo demands something the Secretary doesn't have the authority to do. Two, the National Guard response force already exists. This in the fake memo, it says the memorandum establishes the standards for creation, implementation, manning, training, and equipping of a state-based National Guard response force. Reality, the NGRF is real, but it was formally created in 2006, standardized by NGB Training Curriculum 3-19.15, Civil Disturbance Operations. Units have been trained for riot control, crowd management, and domestic response for over a decade. The memo's language reads as if it's inventing a new force from scratch, which betrays ignorance of how the Guard systems actually work. Bottom line, it's describing something that already exists and pretending it's new, the common red flag and fake or misinformed documents. So next, misrepresents executive orders, claims lineage, executive order 14333. The problem is that one is specifically for Washington, D.C., addresses law enforcement in Washington, D.C., Park Police, U.S. Marshals, and DOJ coordination, not National Guard restructuring. The reporting requirements are just nonsense within it. There's a false chain of command and jurisdictional claim. I mean, this was just the beginning. You can rip this apart 1,000 times over. I don't know who Anthony is. He claimed in his response to me that, by the way, I called him out and I said, this is fake. He goes, it could be. It's why I reached out to the White House and Pentagon, but neither responded. There were other documents that were sent to me, showed up on the email of who it came from, which supported the authenticity. So he says right here, it could be fake. But that's not what he did here. Exclusive, Trump admin creates nation's first ever. That's not a potential, hey, I received this. I don't know if it's true or not. And then he responded to me and I said, hey, DM me and I can validate these for you. And he basically goes into this whole thing. I have sources across local law enforcement, national and federal law enforcement, and these documents were sent to me to verify their authenticity, blah, blah, blah. Anthony, your documents are absolutely garbage and bullshit. They're fake. And you should stop spreading that bullshit and retract your statements. And he said that if they are fake, that he'll retract them. Well, I hope that he retracts them because they're fake. I mean, it doesn't take a fucking genius to figure this out. All right. So we talked about timestamp 14 yesterday. Donald Trump posting this on his Truth Social. And it's just the timing of this is not coincidental, right? We have 14 people were shot and killed over the weekend in Chicago. Actually, it was 11 shot and 3 killed, right? Actually, it was actually more. I think it was 22 or something like that. But he uses the number 14. This goes to Q Post 14 and bring in the federal government, National Guard now. This is what this is all about. Why does this matter? Because the deployment of the National Guard is happening as we speak right now, I believe, to Portland. Trump was talking on this today. The Ninth Circuit made their decision last night, which stands firm on Trump's Portland troops, allows the federal appeals court refuse to reconsider the ruling that lets National Guard deploy to Oregon. Trump administration filed a night brief arguing the decision does not warrant further review. The appeals court agreed. The Ninth Circuit Court agreed with the Trump administration, giving him the go-ahead to go ahead and deploy the National Guard, which means that this precedent can be utilized. Chicago, San Francisco, everywhere. He's talking about San Francisco. He's talking about Chicago. First place we're going to see is Portland, because this is actually where the worst it is right now with Antifa. So going into what kind of that Anthony guy was talking about, see, I don't think he understands. You have quick reactionary forces out of Quantico with the Marine Corps. You have the National Guard quick reactionary forces. You have 20,000 of them already deployed to the southern border. You have thousands of them deployed to the U.S. states already right now. And then with the Insurrection Act, it actually changes the game. You no longer need the National Guard to be that mechanism because you can start deploying special operation forces that are dealt with urban warfare. You can start deploying the Marine quick reaction forces out of Quantico to actually compensate for that. So the idea that that memo is real is garbage. But going in here, I did put a article on Substack. This is about a week and a half old, October 4th. And this actually lays out maybe what Anthony was trying to say, but it goes into the lawfare and the legal architecture of what's about to happen, talking about the DOD instruction 3000.07, irregular warfare, how it works. It goes in to the various different AUMFs and how that organizes, and with the executive orders issuing, that Antifa and all the cartels and gangs are terrorist organizations. We already have it on file. Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah, Hamas, all of these are already terrorist organizations. Really, the only thing left is the Insurrection Act. And once the Insurrection Act comes about, this gives President Trump broad powers to begin neutralizing these threats throughout our country, which we know are spread throughout various different sanctuary cities. So MJ Truth put this out there, kind of interesting. I wanted to put this out to you. So this is very interesting. Yesterday, President Trump said he was working very closely with the U.S. military during the construction of the ballroom. This is the ballroom that the Democrats are melting down over. And it makes no sense why they're so triggered and melting down over this. MJ said that he just learned that the reason the East Wing was built was to cover up an underground bunker known as a Presidential Emergency Operations Center, the PEOC. It was constructed in 1942 during World War II under President Franklin Roosevelt to provide a secure shelter and communication hub for the president and key staff in case of aerial attacks on Washington, D.C. The East Wing was expanded at the same time to conceal the bunker's construction from the public. And so this goes back to that same Substack article I was just talking about that reiterates when we start talking about devolution, when we start talking about continuity of government. And if you guys want to find that Substack article right there, redpillproject.substack.com, redpillproject.substack.com. And just a few more things I want to get in before I bring Tammy in. Okay. Do you guys remember the pager attack during July of 2024? And I said that Trump was in the coordination of this event. Well, it's actually just came out and validated. So the question was, you've been in office for less than a year, Mr. President, in the second term, and the region has already been transformed. Hezbollah's leadership has been decimated. Bashar al-Assad has been replaced by government-seeking normalization. And you know, all of those attacks were done in auspices with me directly. You know, with Israel doing the attacks with the pagers and all that stuff, so they had to look. Israel's been very respectful of this country, and they let me know of everything. And sometimes I'd say no, and they'd be respectful of that, but Obama treated Israel so badly. In other words, there is direct coordination between President Trump and Israel during the coup that overtook Assad, during the decimation of Hezbollah. Now, I find that interesting because those were two mechanisms of the globalists, of the deep state, that were utilized. And we knew that Hezbollah being taken out was actually a really, really good thing. And this is one thing that Israel, I believe, did in the aftermath of the Butler assassination. Whether Israel was involved in Butler or not, I don't know. I believe Israel has a deep state, especially in their military. But what I think is that Israel acted on Hezbollah at that time, not necessarily because the battle was ready to be had, but they did it as a gesture to Donald Trump after what just happened, because that's the type of country they are. Here's the other type of country they are. The Knesset vote on West Bank annexation. So yesterday, the Knesset voted to annex the West Bank, which was in direct violation of the peace accord agreement that Donald Trump made. Now, this happened at the same time J.D. Vance was in Israel, and he said, if it was a political stunt, it was a very stupid political stunt, and I personally take some insult. The policy of the Trump administration is that the West Bank will not be annexed by Israel, and that will continue to be our policy. And then Trump says today that the U.S. will pull its support for Israel if they move to annex the West Bank. That's putting his foot down. That's huge. That's something that no other president before that has done. Pretty nuts, isn't it? All right, let's get in here, see what we got rocking and rolling. I'm going to go ahead and do this, and then we're going to bring Tammy in. Let's be clear. Cryptocurrency is no longer emerging. It's here. And this latest move cements that reality in the biggest way yet. Trump Media Group just inked a massive $6.4 billion deal with Crypto.com, the world's top crypto platform. They're teaming up to scoop up $6.4 billion in CRO, the powerhouse token that fuels fast, low-fee DeFi, staking rewards, and real-world perks like cashback on your spends to launch America's first CRO treasury. When it's done, this new company will be the biggest CRO holder out there. Want in on the action? Head to crypto.com today and grab some CRO. Let's make crypto great again. All right. We'll bring Tammy in here in a second. Tammy, where are you? There's Tammy.
Hello.
Loud. Hi, you're loud. Woo.
Oh, am I? Should I turn myself down?
No, I think you should be fine. I don't know. Let's see how it is out there.
Okay.
It might just be me on my side, but we should be all right. How you doing?
Am I still loud? I'm doing good. Listening to you talk about all that stuff is like crazy. Why would someone put out a memo like that? That was fraudulent. That's what I'm thinking.
So, do I believe his story that someone sent it to him? I do. And do I believe that that person who sent it to him is probably validated? Probably. What I think is going on is because, firstly, someone in the press corps actually asked a question about the memo. That's how much attention this got. So my thoughts on it are that the Trump administration right now is literally preparing for this. They are preparing for civil unrest, mass unrest. They are training their National Guard quick reaction forces, their QRTs out of Quantico. They are doing these trainings already, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not necessarily something that's out there to the world. And I think that it's an eye-opener that this memo was kind of created to produce controversy around it. Hopefully in hopes that it gets to Congress, and then Congress begins to dig and finds the actual real memos that are implementing this level of training. They say, why is the Trump administration planning for civil unrest?
Yeah.
And that draws the question. But that also ignites and incites on the left massive amounts of rhetoric and potentially incites violence from Antifa, so forth. So I think that it was part of a psyop that this guy got caught up in. That's just my thoughts. But it was meant to kind of begin disclosing what Donald Trump's administration, Secretary of Defense, is actually doing behind the scenes, which they are preparing for these things. We know that. It's pretty damn obvious, but it's meant to begin those conversations. And I think it was the Democrats, the lefties that actually put this out there. That's my thoughts.
Interesting. So what I'm interested in is so my algorithm this week has been outrage, rage bait. I don't know what yours has been like, but it's been a lot about this EBT business and nobody getting their food stamps. And so who behind the scenes, who's amping up the temperature to cause, this type of civil unrest? Who is it? Is it Trump that just wants to give me an excuse to bring in? Who is it that's amping it up? Because it's all over my feed, right? This whole EBT stuff where people are like, we're just going to go in, we're going to steal all our food. Walmart, you better get ready. And then they're revealing some people are getting $6,800 a month for EBT and shelter accommodation types. $6,800 a month. That's enough to piss off the working class. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it feels like to me that somebody is definitely trying to stir the pot.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the government shutdown part is, number one, is the war of attrition, is that it's the last move that the Democrats have left. You had the Senate minority whip come out yesterday and say, she goes, I know people are suffering, but this is the last piece of leverage that we have left.
Wow.
And so, what they're trying to do is they want America to be uncomfortable. They want America to get hurt. They want people to be injured by the government shutdown. So that pisses them off and it takes them to the streets. And then they incite the violence and the riots. This is what they want. The left wants violence. They want civil war. I laid this out on the show last night. I was talking about this. Ray Dalio back in 2020 put out a book called The New World Order. I mean, nice title on that book. Bridgewater Capital, worth $18 billion, sits on the board of directors at the World Economic Forum, been to the Bilderberg Group multiple different times, puts out a book called The New World Order. Fucking convenient, right?
Yep.
And he was doing a interview with, it was either Charlie Rose or another interview on the book. And the gentleman asked him, he said, well, what do you think is going to happen in the 2024 election? And Ray Dalio says, he goes, well, I think it's inevitable what's going to happen is if the Democrats win, the Republicans will never accept it and there will be a civil war. And if the Republicans win, the Democrats are never going to accept it and you will see a civil war. It's going to be the inevitable consequence that's always going to happen just because of where we are at politically in our country and the world and what's happening coming into the fourth turning. He's big on the fourth turning.
Yeah.
Strauss and how, and he says, because it's the fourth turning, this is just the archetype that we are in. Now, I find that interesting, but in 2022, John Podesta, they did a exercise with the Biden administration of what would happen if the Republicans did win or the Democrats won, and it did somehow incite a civil war. And they built out what's known as the Podesta plan on how that would look, how the civil war would actually come about. Now, what's interesting about that is Barack Obama sits on the board of directors of A24 Studios, which is a movie production company that works with Netflix. Well, they took the Podesta plan and they made a movie out of it called Civil War.
Yeah. Did you watch it? I didn't watch it.
Oh, yeah.
Did you?
Where you had the Western Alliance that basically takes over territory, moves into Washington, D.C., and they shoot and kill the president at the end. Now, this is interesting because you have Gavin Newsom about a month and a half ago on one of the late night talk shows. And it was not Steve Carroll, but the other guy. But he's asking
Jimmy Kimmel?
No, it was
Stephen Colbert.
Stephen Colbert. Stephen Colbert is asking him, like, what is Oregon and Washington going to do? You got Trump moving in the National Guard. And he goes, well, actually, we're in talks right now to form the Western Alliance.
Oh, shut up. Are you serious? I didn't see that.
Yeah. And I don't know if he was joking or not, but he's serious. Okay. They are very serious because I've said this back in 2020, 2021, 2022. I said, watch, if the Republicans win in 2024, what you're going to see it doesn't matter who wins, is you will see the states begin to secede from the union. The blue states will secede from the red states, and you'll have a separated and divided country. And from there is warfare will incite. And that if it was the Democrats that won, you would have saw Texas and all these states secede, and you would have saw the military partitioning take over those military bases in those states. Now, we have a lot of military bases in California. So if California did secede, they would try to take over those military bases. Now, they don't have the brute force to do that, and the military leadership is much more so on Donald Trump's side. I don't think they would be able to do something like that, but you never know. And I think that this is one of the reasons why you have loyalty drills that are coming about with all the generals, with that generals meeting at the beginning of this month, right? And you're seeing a complete transformation and change in the Department of War and their stance, as well as why those types of fake documents are coming out and the preparations for civil unrest and so forth. So it is all set up. The game board is set up globally. I mean, you could have at any moment nuclear war, World War III, Russia, Ukraine, Europe, NATO, China, Taiwan, United States, South Korea, North Korea, United States, Middle East, Israel, Iran. You could have Turkey, Qatar, Jordan, Egypt, Israel, and the United States. I mean, you have U.S. and Venezuela and Colombia. It could go off at any freaking second. And I think that right now it's containment.
And who is trying to dial down the temperature?
Trump.
Who is trying to dial down the temperature? Because it's like there's chaos every which way. And we all know that, the formula is create as much chaos as possible until you are begging for a solution. And we know what that solution is. We know what it is. They're rolling it out in the UK, right? The digital ID. Oh, it's just a digital ID you need to work. Now it's in Australia. You'll need a digital ID to go travel or what have you. Like every country's rolling it out on the surface for a very specific reason, but it's all BS because it is all about the final solution, which is mass surveillance, 15-minute cities, the biological revolution for mass control. It is the Great Reset. It's the Great Reset. And just because Donald Trump's in office, everybody, doesn't mean we are not getting the Great Reset. We are getting the Great Reset Trump style, which is about the best we can probably, it's about the best we can probably hope for.
I've been very, very honest and forward with this on how I've spoken about this. Is that you have two converging new world orders. You have the Western New World Order, which is the European New World Order. This is Alex Jones, one world government, communist-fascist, totalitarianism, oligarchical control, state matrix. That's Western New World Order. That's the Great Reset that they've talked about.
Yeah.
Then on the other side, Trump's New World Order. Trump's New World Order is national sovereignty. It is a multipolar world where each country retains and maintains its national sovereignty and runs their countries the freaking way that they want, with individualized sovereignty inside those countries, constitutional republics, so forth, right? And this is kind of what the world has been partitioned in right now. And Donald Trump is actually the one trying to keep the peace. I mean, 8 wars in just 10 months. Then you go into that is the trade negotiations, the tariffs, renegotiating of the world, the military deterrent pressure that he's putting on various different countries. He is absolutely trying to draw down the rhetoric and the fueling that's happening around the world. But then you get, rogue idealisms like what's happening right now in the UK. And this is actually where I agree a lot with our friend David Whitehead. This is a red flag that nobody is saying anything about. Listen to this. I'm going to pull up Keir Starmer, okay? Keir Starmer is the Prime Minister of the UK. Listen to what he says here.
I'm so sorry that we're meeting in these circumstances because that was a horrific attack that will have impacted every single member of the community. We've just been talking to some of the family members and getting a sense firsthand of the personal impact. I'm really pleased today that we are announcing a further £10 million to support our mosques on top of the support we've already put in. I'm pleased to say that. I'm sad to say it as well, in a sense, because I wish we didn't need to put in more security. We shouldn't need to have security in places of worship. And it's sad that we do, but that just reflects the responsibility.
Okay. So the UK does this whole PR stunt.
Yeah. Oh,
about
an
attack that happened on Islam. But wait, what about the thousands upon thousands of women that have been raped by the illegal immigrants and the Muslims inside your country? About the thousands and thousands of stabbings and killings by the illegal immigrants in your country that are primarily Muslim? They're not doing anything about that. This is what they're telling their people. That's fucking nuts.
Yeah, because Josh, you're trying to square it with rationalization. You're trying to say, hey, they really do want to assimilate into British culture, and we really do want diversity, and we really do want peace. That's how you're trying to square it. You can't square it with that, because what they're really trying to do is create chaos. And that just throws fuel on the fire. Well, of course, that's their doctrine.
The world to be Muslim.
Absolutely.
The world of Islam.
But don't forget who opened the gate. Don't forget who opened the gate, right? The globalists have opened the gate to flood people like this into Islam is not conducive with the Western world. It is not conducive with the Western world. Now, peace be with you. If that's the religion you want to practice, we do have freedom of religion here in America, and you're free to practice your style of religion, but you're not free to push other people to practice your religion. That doesn't fly here. And it's not supposed to fly in the UK. But again, it's not about that, because it is about creating chaos. And what better way than to mix two people that couldn't be further away in values together in a small space when one has the tenet of converting you to their religion or die trying. Like, just think, this is a recipe for absolute disaster, but it's just another brick on another piece of wood on the fire, because we have our own civil issues as well going on at the same time, right? They're still trying to divide and race. On my show today, I actually played a Black scholar who was talking about poverty and how, everyone thinks, oh, it's just Black people that are living in poverty, or the majority of people that live in poverty are Black. It's not. It's actually the majority of the people are white that live in poverty. And so we don't need to split hairs here. We can just say poverty's wrong and that we should be working on trying to pull people out of poverty. Why do we have to classify poverty? We're not classifying it, the people. We're allowing the globalists and the people who control media and shape culture to make us think it's a class thing, right? It's social engineering for chaos. And gosh, I'm so tired of it because I watch people take the bait every single day. And meanwhile, we have real problems here, real human problems, not just Black problems, not just white problems, not just Mexican problems. We have real people problems here. You don't pull people out of poverty by victimizing them. We've had the same solutions for poverty and fixing these social problems for decades. They don't work. Oh, it's more education. Oh, it's this. We just have to help them more. No, we don't. We got to change. We got to flip the script and take personal responsibility as citizens of our country. How do we actually help people out of poverty? Free medicine? Free medicine. I talked about free medicine on my show today, Josh. Free medicine equals death. Okay. I meet with people every single day. They're on Medicare, sometimes on Medicaid. Free medicine equals death. Okay. It is not entitlement to take advantage of EBT food stamps. You're buying poison. We have the American Heart Association, Josh, advocating for pop and chips and absolute garbage food to be covered by EBT.
Yeah, but
the American Heart Association.
But Coca-Cola is adding cane sugar back in.
Yeah. Sugar is toxic to your body. Now, refined sugar is toxic.
We got Tammy fired up, so I'm going to continue. I'm going to continue her being fired up by playing this clip.
So I'm in Brighton today. This is Barclays Bank, and I've been talking to customers about digital ID, and they're really enthusiastic. It'll have your basic information on it. For everything other than proving you've got a right to work, it won't be mandatory. You don't have to have it, but you can have it. You can use it for anything that requires identification, and there are lots of things. If you want to rent, for example, if you want to apply for a mortgage, if you want to get your child into primary school, there's a catchment area, and you've got to show where you live, proving who you are, what your date of birth is, will just be able to be done with digital ID. They're really up for it. I think once you understand just how much easier it'll make life, so many more people will.
How much easier?
Oh, yes.
It's going to make life.
Of course, because I was talking about this too. I was talking about the fall of Rome, because on Monday, when I was inundated with those EBT videos of all these obese people who were crying about their food stamps and not getting their food stamps, and basically telling us that they're going to punch white people in the face and steal their food, and they're just going to go in and take it. I saw that this is the fall of Rome right here. This and I just did some basic research on what were the key pillars that contributed to the fall of Roman Empire. Sloth and gluttony. Sloth is a disengagement in society to be productive, right? Yeah. It is. Yeah, it's just, taking from society, not contributing to society, right? And gluttony, we all know what gluttony is, over-consumer, right? I say, like, we have a problem with super consumerism here in America. Mm-hmm. It's like we used to be a society that purchased what we needed. People had one pair of boots for the winter. They had one coat for the winter. They had a different pair of shoes for each season. But that was like as needed type of basis. And it was a concerted effort to change people into super consumers. And it was headed up with propaganda campaigns like from Edward Bernays and whatnot, where they successfully got Americans to say more. We need more. And then that's when the economy went to more of a consumer-based economy. And so we have these super consumers. We have people who are not engaged in purpose or meaning in their life. So it's not about, lifting people out of poverty with education. Education's available to everybody in America. Get real. You know who it isn't available? To middle class, upper middle class people whose families actually work. That's who it's not available to. But it's available almost to everybody. You can watch Harvard lectures on YouTube for free. I do it all the time. You can watch them for free. It's not an education thing. It's a moral thing. People have lost they've lost their way. And when you don't seek out purpose in life, when you don't seek out meaning in life, then you're going to sit back in sloth and gluttony and think that this is the way to live. Those people are miserable. They're miserable. Some of these videos I saw this week, Josh, we're talking 100, 200 pounds overweight. You can't be happy when your body's in a prison like that. Free medicine, free food, free trip to the grave. It's not entitlement because they're not going anywhere good. It is a recipe for disaster. So that got me really fired up this week. Just, seeing the grossness and all of the gluttony that's going on and how sick people are and how predatory our medical system is as well. And the digital ID is just going to add to a predatory medical system as well, because it's going to be one file, right? You got all of your, all of your information stored in one place, your carbon credits. We've been talking about that a lot on our show too. The carbon credits issues. We're starting to actually see the price of your carbon on your food now. You're starting to see it. They have bank apps now that are starting to add in your carbon credit system into it. It's like right now it's just like, oh, see how fun, see your footprint. Mm-hmm. There's no real consequence to it right now, but it is coming. It is coming. And you sent me that video earlier today with Glenn Beck and the initiative to slow artificial intelligence. I can't wait to hear your opinion on that. Are you happy about that, or are you not happy about that?
Well, what's interesting about that, and so Glenn Beck did a piece today, and his guest was Max Tegmark. Mm-hmm. Dude's a genius. Like massive genius. Well, they have a website out there called futureoflife.org, and they have a petition that you can sign on there. It's called the Statement on Superintelligence. Now, what they're asking for is a moratorium on superintelligence, on ASI. So the Statement of Superintelligence context, innovative AI tools may bring unprecedented health and prosperity. However, alongside tools, many leading AI companies have the stated goal of building superintelligence in the coming decade that can significantly outperform all humans on essentially all cognitive tasks. This has raised concerns ranging from human economic obsolescence to disempowerment, losses of freedom, civil liberties, dignity, and control, to national security risk, and even potential human extinction. The succinct statement below aims to create common knowledge of the growing number of experts and public figures who oppose to rush superintelligence. So it goes through, and it's got some big names on here.
Yes.
Steve Wozniak, Sir Richard Branson, Steve Bannon's on here, Glenn Beck, Susan Rice, former Navy Admiral Mike Mullen. But there's going to be a name in here I'm going to say that's not going to make sense. Mm-hmm. Prince Harry, Princess Meghan, Yuval Noah Harari.
Yes.
wait, hold on a second here. So I'm looking at this as a Trojan horse of some sort.
Same.
I'm like,
is this a list maker? Is this a list maker?
Yeah.
Who is against artificial intelligence? Are we going to get a tag? Are we going to get tagged? Like, I'm always very skeptical of these lists that go out.
So actually what I think this is about, now I want to give everybody like a broad perspective of what basically was just said. So basically what they're saying is that, hey, we're going to advance the AI and it's going to happen really, really, really fast. But once that happens to the point where it becomes unsustainable, that we can no longer control it, then it's going to be everywhere and it's going to be way smarter than us. And it has the ability to basically push us down and out of the way. Yeah, take us over. So in order for that not to happen, what we're asking for is a moratorium that once AI gets to a certain point, we shut it down. We stop advancing it beyond that point. Now, number one, that's never going to happen. China, if we did that, China's just going to advance it. If China stopped doing that, we're just going to advance it militarily. So we know that that is an impossibility. But here's my thinking on this. What this seems to be to me is that AI therefore gets controlled by an oligarchical board. That the advancement, what is released to the people for utilization and use, is controlled. Not necessarily what's happening in the back end. So now you go back to like Yuval Noah Harari, and what he said is that we would become technological gods. Well, here's the thing is, if everybody has access to ASI, artificial superintelligence, they can't be the tech gods. They can't be the ones that control everything if everybody has the same powerful tool. This looks like to me that what they're trying to do is limit the distribution of artificial intelligence. Right now, if you go use ChatGPT right now, you are getting about 2 to 3% of its actual power capacity. Okay? So you are very limited in what you can actually use AI for right now. What they're trying to say is that, yeah, we're going to give you a little bit more. We're going to turn the dial up just a little bit more, but we're going to save the good stuff for us, and we're just not going to release it to the world. That's what this is telling me.
Well, I think it's possible, too, that not everybody on this list has the same agenda. There can be different reasons for why they want to slow things down. It could be competition. It could be like your theory, right? We want to have the mass control over it, so we want to limit the control to the population. It could be also a litmus test. Who is where on what issue? You know, and compiling a list of things. It could be a lot of things, but it isn't going to take down artificial intelligence. That's for sure.
So, and listen to Yuval Noah Harari's quote. Now, he's a verified letter organizer. He is one of the people that put this letter together. Listen to what he says. He goes, superintelligence would likely break the very operating system of human civilization and is completely unnecessary if we instead focus on building controllable AI tools to help real people today. We can far more reliably and safely realize AI's incredible benefits. In other words, this is what I think this is about. Is if the government goes out there and allots people to just any company or corporation to create AI products, and ASI is obtained, all of those AIs will now have ASI. It now becomes uncontrollable on a commercial front, on a capitalistic front. Right. If they then go for a moratorium, and that is now controlled and behind closed doors, and maybe you have 1 or 2 super AIs that are being developed but not highly regulated by the government, these are the people that are in control of it. These are the people that sit on the board of directors over top of it. Well, everybody else has these low fancy, low grade AIs. They have the ASI. And here's the thing is that they're eliminating competition.
Yeah, the other thing that could be going on too, Josh, is the biological revolution, is where people like Ray Dalio, Eric Schmidt, Larry Ellison, this is where they proclaim the real AI will kick off, is when the merger happens, the biological revolution, where technology gets merged with man. They've all proclaimed this is when it really gets cooking. And perhaps they want to keep that a little behind the scenes while they work that out.
Well, and so we talked about this numerous times on this show, that on the Moonshot podcast, Peter Diamandis was talking about this. He said that he was in a backdoor meeting with the majority of these developers and company owners of AI, and he wouldn't mention their names. And he goes, "You know them. These are the people." Mm-hmm. And he said that they said that AI is so advanced right now that they're scared because number one is they can't stop it. They can't put it back in the box. They have to continue going forth with it. But number two is that it's becoming so intelligent that it's going to be outside of our control relatively soon. And that they came together and said, what is our solutions? And the only solution that they could come up with was to advance biology to the point to where we can understand and comprehend the ASI as well as the ASI can understand it, as in integrate ourselves into the ASI. That way, when this thing goes super intelligent, we go super intelligent with it, and that we're digitally constructed to understand and learn. Now, do you honestly think that they mean that for everybody? No. They mean that for themselves.
Yeah. And Elon has said this exact thing as well, that the only way to keep up with AI is to merge man with AI. So this is not a secret to anybody. I do think they don't want to complete that merger on a public stage because they don't know how it's going to go. And if it goes poorly, guess who's not going to do it? Most people, right? Yeah. Like it's kind of like the COVID vaccine. They just keep gaslighting us and telling us that it was fine because they don't want that mRNA technology to not be, worthy in people's eyes. They want people to think of that technology as being successful. They'll wait until you forget about it a little bit. And then they'll roll something else out that's more enticing, that maybe is a little bit more tickling to your ego. Like, hey, if you take this gene injection, you can change the color of your eyes, or you can grow better hair. Or, they're so predatory.
That's about a year away.
Yeah, it's probably already there. It's probably already there, but right now is not the right time in their eyes to roll stuff like that out because everybody's just a little skittish. I mean, even the most pro-vax people who have taken now 9 COVID vaccines, you got to think that they got to at least take a pause before they get another one at this point. I mean, there's just so much wreckage from that. Right? That even the most pro-vax people have got to be taking pause. And do I think Donald Trump took the last COVID-19 vax? Absolutely. I do not think he did. And I think that Donald might be under some kind of NDA. I've said this for a long time now. It never made sense to me why he wouldn't denounce it. It did not make sense. The only thing I could come up with is he's under some kind of NDA because it rolled out with Operation Time Warp or Operation, Warp Speed. And so he might be under some kind of NDA. That's the only reason I can think that he continues to champion this bullshit injection that has done so much damage to people. I talk to people every day, Josh, who have been injured by this thing, or somebody they love has been injured by this thing. Like, there's no way he doesn't know that. Again, it's about the technology. When health went biotech, we lost health because it became all about products and innovation and technology.
It became about profit.
Yeah, well, it's always been about profit.
Profit and control.
Yeah.
So it became profit and control. And the problem that I see right now with the AI revolution that's occurring is that's the same mechanism. I mean, look at Sam Altman. He's literally the epitome of this. He creates a non-profit for artificial intelligence funded with $150 billion of seed money from Elon Musk, and then kicks Elon Musk out of it and says, we're a for-fucking-profit company. $685 billion. Like, that's the epitome of greed.
Listen, we got corporate gangsters running the world. Look at Mark Carney over there in Canada. I've been talking about him this week, too, as he severs his positive relationship with the United States of America. He is heavily invested in climate change. I mean, he's heavily invested in clean energy, rather. Clean energy. I say climate change is actually a marketing campaign that was developed around a table by a bunch of corporate gangsters. And if you look up Mark Carney. His entire private equity firm and all his investments are in clean energy. Climate change has nothing to do about our environment. It has everything to do with stripping human beings of the power that we consume, the energy that we consume, so that they can redirect it into artificial intelligence and the digital revolution. That is what it's all about. That's what Mark Carney's doing. We've got corporate gangsters all over politics. We got Mark Carney in Canada. We have Trump here. Thank goodness we have Trump here, but he's still a businessman, still a corporate guy, right? Still making decisions for the betterment of the economy. And, the Trump organization isn't going broke.
Well, the Trump family is not going to go broke for a very long time. I assure you that much.
That's what I'm saying. But who's looking out for the people? Really, we need to be looking out for each other. This is a game we aren't even in. That's the thing.
I agree with you. Now, you're talking about Mark Carney and climate. Did you see what Trump posted last night on Truth Social?
I don't know if I did.
Americans have urgent and important questions about geoengineering and contrails. The American public deserves and expects honesty and transparency from their government when seeking answers. But for years, people who asked questions in good faith were dismissed, even vilified by the media and their own government. That era is over.
Interesting.
Trump EPA is...
So it goes on and basically says that the Trump EPA is going to investigate all aspects of weather modification, climate change, contrails, chemtrails, and everything.
I think we have Trump on our side for sure with climate change. He's called that out several times. There was two old guys on Rogan this week, William Happer and Richard Lidzen, I think. Anyway, one's an atmospheric scientist. The other one's a physics scientist. They're old guys. They're retired now. One went to Princeton. One went to Harvard. These guys know their shit. They know what they're talking about, right? And they're on there for a couple of hours explaining the scam of climate change. And the sad thing is, Josh, is we're about losing 50 years of real investigation to understand the earth that we live in because of this marketing campaign, and then you've got shysters and little weasels like Mark Carney over there, wringing their hands like, climate changes are real. He's invested. I pulled out his investments here. He was the UN Special Envoy for Climate Action and Finance in 2019, right? He's co-chair of Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero. Literally all of, yes, I mean, it goes on and on. He's, Brookfield was under his leadership, of course, not anymore because he's stepped down, right, from bull crap. But all of their investments are in clean energy and transition assets. What are transition assets? This is about natural resources, clean energy for the digital revolution. It has nothing to do with our environment, which we do have an environmental issue. This is what's so irritating, is that they've hijacked this, or they've invented this term climate change, and to make all the people with empathy for the earth and for nature to care about the planet. And it's nothing more than a marketing campaign to sell you the solutions to climate change. In reality, we do have some environmental problems. We have mega corporations that are polluting our waterways. We have devastation in our soils where we can't grow nutritious food because of pesticides and herbicides. We have a dying off population of bugs. We don't have near the species of bugs that we used to. I mean, all you got to do is take a road trip across the country. When I was a kid, there was bee splatter all over the windshield, and now it's rare. It's rare. We do have problems.
Agenda framework. Yeah, and the climate agenda framework is basically if you want to pollute, if you want to drop chemicals, if you use these chemicals, you just got to pay a tax.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But if you
that's the whole framework.
Listen,
that's literally what it is.
The pressure on the people, though, is the thing that is really concerning, because they're going to start telling you you can't have a pet because water is going to become it's not going to be scarce. It's going to become highly regulated, highly commoditized, because
and Mexico's already done this. A lot of the C-15 cities, this is one of the primary implementations that they're doing is the control of the water supply.
Because they need it for cooling data centers.
Yeah. Do you know throughout the United States that what is the word I'm looking for? But a lot of the towns and stuff like that are annexing all houses that have wells on them and bring them in the public water supply. I mean, this has been ongoing for like 30, 40 years now. Like, I know we live on a strip of 5 houses, and we're a township. Like we're just one little town strip in between 2 towns, and they're trying to annex us to bring us into the public sewer and the public water supply. And we're on well, and we're like, no, not going to happen. They're like, oh, it'll be so much better. I'm like, no. And they want us to pay for the road and the construction.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's they're crazy. I know, it's just amazing what they're getting away with.
Yeah, but they do it. They're like, well, it's gonna be way more efficient and cheap and all this stuff, and it's actually not. It's way more expensive, but it's all about control. It's about control because what the towns look at it, it's tax money.
That's right. And that's where they're putting up solar panels. They're putting these solar panel farms up. There's a couple here in my small town. They're going to be looking at making water grabs in places like New Mexico and Arizona. They're going to be looking at these little towns that don't have a very high population, but that have access to water. I'm telling you, like, we don't have a shortage of water, but I played some engineer on my show this week too that described how when you type something into ChatGPT, just one question, okay, it uses approximately 1.5 liters of water to process that question in a data center. So that's just ChatGPT.
I'm sorry, Mother Nature.
Yeah, that's just ChatGPT. And so when you look at Bill Gates, who's investing in water, he's trying to figure out how we can drink our own toilet water, actually. It's because they know that this is going to be, we're getting transferred into a currency system that is based on natural resources, Josh. It's going to be based on our carbon. It's going to be based on, rations for water, rations for food. And I'm not trying to be hyperbolic here or scare anybody. And maybe we'll get some intervention here. Maybe we will. People will actually stop and look at this and be like, is this worth it to strip humans of their consumption of energy so that we can feed this monster of the digital revolution that could possibly extinct us as a human species? Like, hello, anybody home? Like, hello, it couldn't get any stupider. It's just crazy. It's crazy.
Well, you're right. And, I don't think we're going to have an intervention anytime soon. The wheels are set in motion. I mean, we got $20 trillion of capital flowing into the United States and just build out a new infrastructure. The question is as that, and that's really where it happens. It's with that infrastructure build out that we see what the next world's going to look like.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
after World War II, after World War II, it was massive. This was the New Deal, the massive infrastructure build out. And that was roads and bridges and highways and byways and that's what it's looked like for the last 100 years. Well, now we're at a new point in time, and the new infrastructure that's going to be built out is digital infrastructure. And the question is it's data centers, it's micronuclear power plants. But here's also the other exciting part about is that they are going to open space up. I'm telling you, within 10 years, you'll be able to go to the moon. And it won't cost $200,000 to go to space. I'm telling you, within 10 years, we're going to have this capability. So I think one thing that they're realizing is that if we're going to build this world like we're going to do, then we have to give optionability to the people. We have to give them the option to say, hey, look, you don't like Earth. Great. Well, why don't you go join the mission to Mars and go on over there and start anew? Or who knows what technologies we have. I'm a dreamer. I think that, they say, well, we might have faster than light travel in 200 years. Fuck that. I want it tomorrow, dude. And because I know they have it. And if we don't have that shit in 10 years, there's going to be some problems. But just think about this for a second, is if we have this massive technological revolution, we have artificial superintelligence, and from there, we can manifest any technology we want. We get the generators that generate food, water, it generates any type of material substance that you want. You can build anything you need. We have this ASI. And it goes out there and it says, oh, I've solved faster than light travel. And what, do you want me to build you a spaceship? Here's a spaceship. And you build a spaceship and you can take off and you can leave this solar system. I think that as long as that option is left in there, that you do not have to take part in this system if you do not want to. And if you want to go live in the woods out there with all the nomads, you go live in the woods out there with all the nomads, and we will leave you the fuck alone. I think as long as this system has that optionability, or hey, you want to take off in a spaceship and go to Mars to the mission there, or you want to get in a spaceship and just leave the solar system, have at it.
Sure.
I think that as long as that's
what the American experiment's all about, freedom. I just worry that, people are caught up in their algorithm. Their consciousness has been captured by the algorithm, that they don't even care about freedom anymore.
I don't think it's they don't care. It's they believe what they have is freedom.
Forcing your opinions on other people?
They believe what they have is freedom. I mean, how about this? How many people do you talk to on a daily basis that believe every word they say?
Yeah.
They truly, they stand behind their conviction, their beliefs. They defend their beliefs. Now, this goes around to the illusion of reality, right? Is that most people have been educated, indoctrinated, or educationalized into this world. That the majority of the things that they know or believe are fake and fictitious, but yet they will defend them to the day they die. And the reason is because they believe that that is the derivation of their freedom. That is the derivation of their free thought and free think. That comes from them being able to figure out the world. Look, I figured out the world. I have these things that I know.
Yeah,
these
that's a scary thing.
Myself, like I validated these. These are real, and I'll defend them. And this came about through my free thinking because in my mind it happened and it made sense. But what they don't realize is that the whole world's a world of manipulation and illusion and psychological warfare, and that they never free thought anything, that those were implanted into them emotionally through social media, through digital construct, through parents and education, and through various other people in their life. And that they have to wake up and understand that freedom isn't the ability to think. It's the ability to say no. It's the ability to not think. It's the ability to go inside yourself and explore and see beyond the constraints of the world in front of you. That freedom is much greater than the idea of thinking that I can think and believe anything I want. Freedom is discipline. Freedom is discipline in the mind. It is being able to have discipline in your life.
You have to have faith too to be able to really believe in freedom and understand freedom, because we don't know the answers to everything. And the brain doesn't like not knowing. That's the most uncomfortable space for
fear.
Yes, right, and it's like the inability to predict, right? We don't know what's going to happen. That's the worst state for the human mind to be in. That's the state that we like the least. And so everyone's just trying to make themselves feel more comfortable all the time. And so if you challenge their belief systems, it's like, don't make me uncomfortable. No, that's not what it is. The brain wants to go back to comfort. And so when you have faith, though, you can get more comfortable with not knowing, because that's what faith is built on. But we absolutely need faith in order for this society to run, with some cohesion to it. We have to have faith, because we don't know why the sun comes up every day. We have some theories, but we don't know for 100% why. We don't know why our heart beats on its own. We have theories around it, but we truly do not know why it keeps beating, and we don't have to think about it beating. These are questions we don't know the answers to, yet we're so determined to proclaim that we've got everything figured out and this is the way it is, and everybody needs to live this way and do this thing. I mean, we saw it through COVID. 70% of people, whether that's a true statistic or not, I mean, it can be debated, but for the large part, it was 70% of people that rolled up their sleeves and took the injection. You know, so they were conditioned by a large media campaign, when the truth was there was no real benefit to taking that injection. None at all. All risk, no reward. But because of the societal mechanism and the media and everything that went into that campaign, 70% of people did it. That's not a good ratio, you know, if we're wanting to go forward in society and have some cohesion with our language, with our value system. You know, it's not a free-for-all out here. It can't be a free-for-all out here and it be safe and enjoyable and American.
Right. I'm speeding something up because I wanted to get this up there. You can see there it is. Okay. All right, guys. Right below on the scroll bar, you'll see text Tammy 720-303-8868, and you can go ahead and text her any of the questions you want, and it's not going to cost you 1.5 liters of water. And then you can also visit redpillhealthscore.com, redpillhealthscore.com. There's a short little survey you can do there. Help Tammy and also get in contact with her for what she is doing. I'm going to be heading over to the after show Q&A. So typically every Thursday, I do a Q&A. And so that is going to be either on one of these platforms, Locals, X, Substack, or Social Red Pill. You got to be a member of one of those 4 platforms. The link will be posted on those platforms. If you are a subscribing premium member on those platforms, you'll see soon a link be posted for a Zoom. You can join that link and get into the live Q&A. And that'll happen immediately after this show. I'm looking on Rumble. We need some more thumbs up. Maybe I'm wrong there. I only saw 25 thumbs up. Man, how many thumbs up we got on Rumble, guys? It looks like I got 2 here. Oh, the 424. Okay, if we can get some more, that'd be great. Appreciate it, guys. And then I wanted to give a shout out to TannerCat17 with a $14 Rumble rant. The AI problem goes away when people say no. Love you, Josh and Tammy. I agree with you, brother. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Or sister, sorry. I don't know if TannerCat's a male or a female. And then we had one more come in, and I do want to acknowledge it. I don't have Alpha's fancy little system that he uses. Boom Diggity, $20 Rumble rant. Didn't the sports betting book have a part in the Back to the Future movies? Feel like 88 and some mirroring with the FBI takedown or crime and sports bets. Let's see what's coming. Well, that was interesting. I'm going to talk about that tomorrow too, because if you thought NFL and NBA were fake, you were right. They are. They're rigged by the freaking mafia. And we'll talk about that more. So Daily Dose tomorrow. And then after the Daily Dose, it'll be Conversations on the Fringe with your host, Jeff Wong, who's going to have Bruce that's going to be coming on. And they're going to be doing a whole discussion on consciousness and artificial intelligence. So it'll be a true Fringe episode. I hope you guys like that. Josie Flanagan, thank you all. Appreciate you, Josie. Thank you for that $20 Rumble rant. You're amazing. Appreciate all the audience out there. You guys are awesome. And Tammy, where can everybody find you?
Oh, I would just want to tell everybody to go to redpillhealthscore.com and take the health score, then book an assessment with me. Listen, you guys, this is just in the month of October. These are my stats for the month of October, okay? 22 people have reduced their medication or eliminated medication with the guidance of their doctor, because that was their goal to work with me, is to get to lower medication or to get off medication entirely. 22 people in the naturally inspired community have done that this month of October. 78 pounds have been lost in the naturally inspired community. 78 pounds have been lost this month in October through naturally inspired community. So it is time. There's never been a better time to take control of your health. So head on over there. Take the redpillhealthscore.com. You'll take a few questions, and at the end of it, it'll ask if you want to book an assessment. Book an assessment with me. We're changing lives over here. People are getting healthier, and it's awesome to see. So congratulations to everybody if you're listening out there, and you're 1, 2, 5, 10, or 15 of those pounds that have lost. Josh is 10 pounds.
Getting there. That's right. So, and then guys, 720-303-8868. Give her a text and join in on those. Some of them are free groups too that she has. So just give her a text. You can find all the information out there. All right, guys. And then I'm going to leave you with the amazing song. Tammy, we'll see you. Well, actually, we'll probably see you a lot sooner than next Thursday, but we'll let everybody else figure that one out. But guys, much love, respect. God bless. Take care. Have a great night. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
Good night.
There was a time when our children stood tall, hand on their hearts, one voice for all. There was a time when honor had weight, when the flag was a symbol, not a debate. There was a time when our history was known, with pride in the rules that made us our own. There was a time, respect for the brave, for those who bled, for the lives they gave. Now the homeland burns in silent war. Truth is twisted, we can't ignore. Through the smoke, a voice still calls. We the people will not fall. There was a time, but the time isn't near. The great awakening is here. Dark to light, veil under. Patriots rise, we are one. Land of the free, home of the brave. No more silence, no more slaves. Answer the call, take back the fight. Children of freedom, stand for light. When truth was clear, when the media served, not ruled by fear. There was a time when leaders stood fast, guarding the people, defending the past. Now corruption wears a crown, lies are fed to tear us down. But Q said watch, and Q said see. The silent war will set us free. From the front lines, soldiers stare, wondering if we're still there. Their blood, their hope, their sacrifice will not be sold for a last prize. There was a time, but the time isn't near. The great awakening is here. Dark to light, the veil undone. Patriots rise, we are one. Land of the free, home of the brave. No more silence, no more slaves. Answer the call, take back the fight. Children of freedom, stand for the light. Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on. Or we will spend our sunset years telling our children what it was once like in the United States where men were free. There was a time is near, the great awakening is here. Dark to light, veil undone, patriots rise, we are one. Land of the free, home of the brave, no more silence, no more slaves. Answer the call, take back the fight. Children of freedom, stand for the light. There was a time. There was a time. Now is the time. Do it.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. The air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation. I want you to get mad.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
The more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
These people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy.
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.
I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!